If I think about the ways you make me smile, I'd be sitting here and smiling for a while. Although I know I make you cry sometimes, your happiness is ever on my mind. I cannot repay for everything you've done, but my love for you burns brighter than the sun. No matter where my feet and mind may go, my heart will lead to you and you alone. Guyana, I'll be holding on to you forevermore. Guyana, may the blessings of God never leave your shore. A paradise so wondrous to behold, a work of art, your heart is gleaming gold. They sail the waters, soar above the trees, to find the gem between the mountains and seas. Your children know we try though we may fall. We stand united now to heed your call. Our fathers fought the fights for liberty. Forever I'll defend Guyana free. Guyana, I'll be holding on to you forevermore. Guyana, may the blessings of God never leave your shore. I'll be holding on to you forevermore. Guyana, may the blessings of God never leave your shore. Rise up for your land. Rise up, won't everybody stand? Rise up for your land. Rise up, won't everybody take a stand? Rise up for your land. Rise up, won't everybody stand? Rise up for your land. Oh, God.
Look down through your window, no big city lights, just greenery. I don't know what you come for. Listen up, my dear, we're such a man free. Welcome to the land of many faces, not one, not two, but 6 different races. You know when the sun kisses your skin, you're in the right place. G-U-I-A-N-N, oh, that's my beautiful country. G-U-I-A-N-N, one people, one nation, one destiny. Don't stop for a minute. Come, let me take a walk right through the tiki. You'll see our landmarks and our monuments. They're so unique. The hybrid structure, the lighthouse, the tallest wooden structures, cathedral, 176th Street, monuments, and the beautiful city hall. You know with the wind in your hair, you're in the right place. G-U-I-A-N-N, oh, that's my beautiful country. G-U-I-A-N-N, one people, one nation, one destiny. Look down from your window, no big city lights, just greenery. I don't know what you come for. Listen up, my dear, we're such a man free. Welcome to the land of many faces, not one, not two, but 6 different races. You know when the sun kisses your skin, you're in the right place. G-U-I-A-N-N, oh, that's my beautiful country. G-U-I-A-N-N, one people, one nation, one destiny.
Caution them, make it an anthem. Land of Guyana, of rivers and plains. I'm a real Guyanese. From the time when I step on the scene to the moment me leave. I'm a real Guyanese. From the red to the black to the gold to the white to the green. I'm a real Guyanese. And nothing can change me. Then nothing can change me. I'm a real Guyanese. I live in a foreign country. Then nothing can change me. 6 races, beautiful faces. Put your hand them in the air if you're not racist. I pledge myself to honor always. I will never disgrace this. Then want peace and we mop. Wait your mothers, we not get you that. No, no, not one caress. Not a blade of grass. Listen up, 83,000 square miles. Oh my God, we find aisle. Me not tell you no lie. Guyana nice, but no swear for my life. Land of many waters, bring out all the leaders in the son them and the daughters. If you want to, we fight. No, not at all. I'm a real Guyanese. From the time when I step on the scene to the moment me leave. I'm a real Guyanese. From the red to the black to the gold to the white to the green. I'm a real Guyanese. And nothing can change me. So nothing can change me. I'm a real Guyanese. I live in a foreign country. So nothing can change me. Big up stop brooks. Allow it tough crook. It now always pretty son about a try act shook. God big up GRM, me know I'm a tax look. And when me have the money, me can go for my bank book. Beautiful Guyana, we there in South America. Land of kite, the flora and the fauna. Independent people, so we do what we wanna. Never violate because you could become a Ghana. Them love we country, all the foreigners, them children salute you. In the Indian them, love we border, we no want no problem. Never fall, we forever standing. Me love how God make you, we never forsake you. Unique in every way, good I never mistake you. If Guyana was a girl, I surely would date you. That's why them want take you. I'm a real guy unique. From the time when I step on the scene to the moment me leave. I'm a real guy unique. From the red to the black to the gold to the white to the green. I'm a real guy unique. And nothing can change me. So nothing can change me. I'm a real guy unique. I live living in a foreign country. So nothing can change me.
أصبحنا وأصبح الملك لله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير ربي أسألك خير ما في هذا اليوم وخير ما بعده وأعوذ بك من شر ما في هذا اليوم وشر ما بعده رب أعوذ بك من الكسل وسوء الكبر رب أعوذ بك من عذاب في النار وعذاب في القبر.
Heavenly Father, as I rise to greet a new day, I humbly come before you with a grateful heart. Thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to experience this day. I surrender my plans and desires to your divine will. Guide me in every step I take, that I may walk in alignment with your purpose for my life. Grant me wisdom, strength, and clarity as I navigate the challenges and blessings that lie ahead. Fill me with your love, grace, and compassion, that I may be a source of light and encouragement to those I encounter. May this day be filled with your presence, and may I reflect your goodness in all that I do. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Good morning, and welcome down to the Livewire with me, Courdel Jones. Thank you for joining me for another episode here this morning. Good morning to all the persons tuning in across the 10 administrative regions of Guyana. Good morning to all the persons in the Caribbean and those persons who usually join us from further afield. It's Thursday, and the week is almost over. I hope you guys have been having a productive week. As you guys know, on Thursdays, we have the press conference of the Vice President and General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Dr. Bart Jagdeo. So you guys can definitely look out for that at 2 p.m. today. 2 p.m. today, they'll be streaming live from the Vice President's Facebook page and several other platforms. So make sure you guys tune in. We didn't have a press conference last week. So this week, I can guarantee you, there will be a lot of interesting things the Vice President will touch on as it relates to Guyana, its development, its moving forward, and even the naysayers, debunking some of the false narratives that are being put out there by the opposition to make persons feel that Guyana is not on the upward trajectory that it's on, um, that the development that is being seen across the regions is not really happening. So we can definitely look out for that press conference today with Vice President Dr. Bart Jagdeo at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. streaming live on Facebook and YouTube and other social media platforms. You guys can tune in and listen to the information being presented. I don't like uh I don't like to waste too much of time. I like to get into the information right away because uh, whilst it's an hour, usually it's not enough time to get out all the information that I want to share with you. So one of the first things I want to touch on is MP Coretta McDonald, who has a program advancing the cause. And last evening, it was aired on the opposition's Facebook social media accounts, and she touched on several issues. And I had several issues with the issues she raised because I'm wondering, when did Coretta McDonald wake up to realize that Guyana has issues and they need to be dealt with, and um, the interests of the Guyanese people needs to be taken into consideration. So first of all, um, she highlighted the fact that she feels that Guyana has real issues that the government is not taking into consideration. Now, what I'd like to say to that is, Coretta, and a special good morning to Tracy Martindale on the live. Happy to see you here, and all the other persons out there, Sally Jones, Keith Adams, um, Shakila from Essequibo. I see Kevin George on the live, Lance Henry, Pam Singh. Morning to all you guys. So Coretta was saying Guyanese have real issues and they need to be dealt with. Now, again, I'm wondering where or what country is Coretta living in, right? What country is Coretta living in? No, we see daily ministers of government, we see the president, we see the vice president, we see officials from ministries daily on the ground meeting with uh, the citizens of Guyana in their comfort zone, going to their communities, meeting with these persons. Good morning to all the persons watching us from New York. Neil, good morning to you. Um, we see the government on the ground meeting with people, listening to their problems and addressing those problems. So for Coretta McDonald to sit on a 2-hour program and lament about real issues that Guyanese are having, why wasn't your government at the time dealing with those issues? Housing issues, right? Issues, persons were having issues finding work. Why wasn't the AP and AFC coalition dealing with these issues, right? Development in communities, roads, drains, persons were complaining about these things for some time now. So for Coretta McDonald to sit down and to say that Guyanese have issues, when did you wake up? Guyanese always have issues, but we see that we have a PPPC government that is going into the communities to listen to the issues and try to address them as best as possible. And as a person who is usually on these types of outreach, some issues are personal issues. However, the government still tries its best to deal with them as best as they could. They have some that they can't deal with. And I would continuously mention to people, you can't please everybody. But I can guarantee you the majority of Guyanese are pleased with the direction the country is going in, um, given the 5 years they had before. No development, no infrastructure to talk about, buses, boats, and bicycles that nobody cared about. The buses and the boats that only used to pick up certain people, children, to get them to school. So there was no holistic plan in relation to having something that benefits a wide cross section of Guyanese. It is well documented. Persons from the coalition saying only coalition persons will get work. We know of the 7,000 sugar workers that lost their jobs. Those were a major issue, Coretta McDonald. The 2,000 CSOs who lost their job. That is a serious issue. Those persons didn't have any income anymore. The mining sector that was failing during that period, that was a major issue to those persons. The timber sector that was failing, that was a major issue to those persons. The rice deal that they messed up, that was a major issue to rice farmers and millers. So, Coretta, the major issues have always been there. But we now have people who are addressing these issues to make the situation better. One thing I must say is that she did admit that a lot of the issues that are facing Guyanese right now didn't just appear, right? They had a 5-year period to fester and get inflamed and inflammation and get sick worse, right? So now the PPPC has come in like the good doctor, giving antibiotics, nurturing Guyana back to health. And that seems to be upsetting the people on the other side. So I'd like to remind Coretta McDonald that these issues that she's speaking of, it didn't pop up just like that, right? They came from coalition times, poor management of Guyana and the economy and everything. Everything was in a dire state, right? So Coretta, I'm glad that you're up now and you're looking around, but the issues that you speak of were created by your party and they're being fixed by the Irfan Ali led government, right? She went on to some petty things, talking about views and how much people on lives and that kind of thing. Now, she made a claim that the Prime Minister did some live at some point in time, retired Brigadier Mark Phillips, and 39 persons were on the live, right? 39 persons were on the live. Now, this is a part of the misinformation that they like to spread. Coretta's program last night is on social media for 11 hours so far, right? For 11 hours so far. Let's look at the viewership of Miss McDonald, right? Look at this here. 215 people would have viewed advancing the cause with Miss Coretta McDonald, EAMP, 11 hours ago. AP and New Guyana was live 11 hours ago. 215. Coretta has got better numbers in an hour. Coretta, you're an MP. I'm a regular Guyanese. I'm not a member of parliament or anybody with as much clout as you. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? If persons not looking at the Prime Minister, they're not looking at you too. In 11 hours, this is what you pull. This is what you're pulling in 11 hours of people looking from all over the world. 215. They got some ministries with more people than that, right? They got churches with more people than that. So please, Coretta, keep the Prime Minister's name out your mouth. Keep the Prime Minister's name out your mouth. And I guarantee you, the Prime Minister don't pull these kind of low numbers. Look at this, 215 in 11 hours. 11 hours. Right? But I wouldn't even compare it to the Vice President. I mean, you mentioned the Prime Minister. I guess you went on one live and you saw a couple of people and now you're talking a bunch of madness. But you aren't attracting any big viewership with the nonsense y'all spewing over there. Nobody's really looking at you, Coretta. 215, sitting MP, General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. So them teachers ain't looking at you neither. Look how many teachers how many teachers in the union, Coretta? How many teachers are in the union? How many are 215? All 215 teachers were watching you. So don't make comparisons, Coretta. Don't make any comparisons on viewership and who live and them nonsense. Nobody. Listen, the 215 people there, you could call them the diehard Kool-Aid Brigade. The diehard Kool-Aid Brigade. Right? The diehard Kool-Aid Brigade. Those persons take their daily dose of Kool-Aid. So don't ever put the Prime Minister's name in your mouth in this way again, trying to disrespect the Prime Minister. So Coretta went on to talk about, let me get my notes. So Coretta went on to talk about accidents and drownings, and people should pray for Guyana. She even went as far as to say that the Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Bishop Juan Ejil, that God isn't answering his prayers. Right? I mean, look at the levels these people go to. Look at the levels these people go to. That God isn't answering Minister Ejil's prayers. I don't know how they know Minister Ejil praying for. Minister Bishop Juan Ejil. Most persons would know that he's a bishop as well, a holy man. So I wanted to find out from Coretta, because she, other than saying that the minister praying and he get no answer, she was lamenting that Guyanese need to pray for Guyana and we need to pray more and this kind of stuff. Y'all remember the praying that the team over there were doing during the regional and general elections? Y'all remember? Y'all remember? And that's what I'm trying to understand. On one side, you're preaching something else, but in real life, you're doing something different. Look what I'm talking about. This is a prayer. This is the prayers Coretta them talking about. Is this a prayers Coretta them talking about? And mind you, it's not a prayer to bless the nation, not a prayer for prosperity for Guyana, not a prayer to stop the racial division in Guyana, not a prayer to bring people together in Guyana, not a prayer for prosperity in Guyana, but a prayer to the Kabaka to deliver an election. And Coretta MacDonald is sitting on her live program pretending to be holier than thou. Holier than thou. And that is the kind of activity that those persons on that side are engaged in. Invoking or claiming to invoke the spirits to deliver an election. Not let the will of the people be done, Kabaka, or God, or Allah, or Shiva, or Buddha, but for the Kabaka to deliver an election. So indeed, Coretta, we need prayers. We need prayers indeed, but what kind of prayers?
We call you by your false name at this time of our. We call you by names that are personally deemed belong to you. Come on, Kabaka. We call your presence. You seal it and deliver the election.
A few moments later.
Of the goodness of God. Hey, for your mercy never failed me.
What talking about? See what talking about? They ain't got no consistency. They don't have no consistency. You're jumping from one thing to the other, one thing to the other, one thing to the other. And Coretta is talking about prayers and who need prayers and what is needed. So don't pretend, Coretta, that you are the first person in church every Sunday, right? Because you can't be secular and in the church as well. You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one. Is Heidi in the church or you in the world? You gotta pick one, Coretta. You gotta pick one. She also spoke about the ongoing work at the Cemetery Road area there, and the fact that the some of the workers were complaining of being troubled by spirits in the area. That's your fault, Coretta. That's your fault. Y'all invoking the spirits. Y'all invoking the spirits. 7 points is where Barnum is buried, right? In that area there, y'all invoking spirits. They got allegations made. Y'all going there in the night and invoking the spirits to harass the people in the day. Stop it. We want the road to finish. Y'all stop raising these things on people. You understand me, Coretta? So don't make light of the fact that those gentlemen who were working on that cemetery road expansion there. We got all sorts of things happening in this country. And when it comes to progress, there are certain people who will do anything to derail that process. Anything. Anything. Right? So if they could have invoked Kabaka for elections, what are they gonna do to make the government look bad and the road can't complete? What would they be willing to do? Raise several of them to harass the workers? I think it's possible. I think it's possible. She went on to talk about being upset that she's not or making an accusation that coalition or opposition personnel not having access to NCN and all this other nonsense. I'll say this to you, Coretta. In my personal opinion, I agree. NCN is not a place for you or your counterparts to go and spread race, hate, and division in Guyana. It's a national TV station. And I'm sure, just like anybody else, if you present running hard and a program outline and your program is of a certain standard, you'll get on NCN. But NCN is not a place for race hate and preaching about reparations and all that madness y'all doing. Mind you, I'm not against reparations. I'm just against the way that the WPA and other persons have been lobbying for it. So I just want to be clear. Not that I'm against reparations, just against the way the WPA and the others are lobbying for it. Good morning to all the persons out there in Bartica, Delray, Bev, Tiziana, Diana, Tracy, Mr. Earing Ward, Prime Minister's rep, Mr. Anthony Murray, Mayor, his family, Mr. Ward and his family, all the good people up there in Bartica. Good morning to y'all. I hope today is a lot cooler than the past couple of days. I've been receiving some reports. It's like fire in Bartica, boy, hot. Right? So, Coretta, please. I'm asking you to set yourself right and stop with the nonsense. NCN is not a place for preaching division and those kinds of things that you guys like to put out there, right? Please leave NCN alone. Leave the Prime Minister alone. Push your agenda as best you could on the platforms that you can without involving other people. Right? So much trouble. Stop it. So again, she back on religion and prayer and all this other stuff. And I'd like to remind Coretta She's talking about prayer, and prayer is fine. To have faith is fine. But Coretta, I'd like to remind you of James chapter 2, verse 14. Right, Coretta? James chapter 2, verse 14. Prayer without, or I should say, faith without works, is death. Why you think the PNC is dead now, Coretta? Why you think the PNC is dead now? Faith without works. You understand? No works put out 2015 to 2020. Hence the reason the APNU AFC is dead. So y'all had a lot of faith. Y'all had a lot of faith. But no works. No works put out whatsoever or of any significance. So remember that, correct? You're talking about Bible and good book and all that other stuff. James chapter 2, verse 14. That's the first place y'all need to go. And yes, Shakila, Coretta will be holding the donkey of the day today for her nonsense. You see, the government of Guyana, they had faith going into the election of 2020. Y'all had faith that the opposition, PNC, APNU, would have been able to rig it. But you did a sloppy work. So even the rigging attempt, you didn't even put effort into that. So even that works there. You just had faith. So you see the government putting out works because they have faith in the Guyanese people. They know that the Guyanese people are going to appreciate that. They know that the Guyanese people will benefit. The Guyanese people will grow. So they're putting out the works. And they have faith in the Guyanese people and the Guyanese economy. So remember that the reason the APNU AFC is dead is because of no works. No works. And it's not me alone saying that. That's the sentiment across the board. Persons feel generally that the APNU AFC is a dead party or a dead coalition. Matter of fact, the APNU AFC have split. So indeed they're dead. It's just APNU, there's just AFC. So they're dead in their own right. Right? We're gonna have a group funeral. We're gonna have two separate events. Because they're dead. They're dead. They're dead. So moving on. So she spoke about healing. She spoke about healing, and that the first step to healing is admitting that, you were wrong, or you admitting to your wrongdoings or admitting to doing wrong things. That's the only way that healing could begin. So, Coretta, let me assist you to help your party heal. The first thing that they need to do is admit they lost the 2020 elections and produce the SOPs to confirm that. That's the first thing they need to do, Coretta. On the road to healing, as you put it. You said on the program last night that to heal, you must be able to admit wrongdoing and move forward. Morning, Raj. I wonder what region you're in, brother. Teaching everybody but ITC boss. Mr. Raj Norain? I'm pronouncing the last name right. But morning to you, brother. Doing a lot of work with the youths out there across the regions, making sure that they're educated in relation to ICT. And that's the difference. You see, that works. That's works Raj putting out there. Works every week or every other week. Raj is in a different region, training young people in IT, training young adults in IT, so they are better equipped to function in this technologically advanced age. So that there what Raj is doing correct is called works. Because the government got faith in the youth of tomorrow. Those are the next leaders of Guyana. So because of the faith, the government has ensured that people like Raj are in the regions. They don't have to come to town or they don't have to go anywhere. Come to them in their region and educate them in relation to ICT and things relating to that. So let us get back to healing. So correctly, the first thing we need to do in relation to the healing process is admit that you guys lost the 2020 elections and that you tried to rig it for 5 months. That's the first thing we need. The first set of wrongdoings that we need to admit to, or y'all need to admit to, because I was never a part of the PNC, APNU, AFC. Never supported, didn't go to a rally, nothing of the sort. Never, ever, 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 ever a part of that. So that's the first thing y'all need to do. Admit you lost the elections, show the SOPs that you lost the elections, and admit that you tried to rig a horrible attempt at rigging the 2020 elections, the 5-month period. The second thing you need to do, or your party needs to do, Coretta, on the road to healing, admit you lost the LG elections recently concluded. Right? Stop going around to people telling them that y'all won when you lost the majority of the LAs. That's what you need to do. Tell the people the truth. On every town council that the opposition has held on to, the People's Progressive Party has gained more seats in those areas. So whilst you would have won these town councils, you have lost footing in those areas. And everywhere else you would have lost outright. Right? Everywhere else you would have lost outright. She went to dead people on the list. She went to dead people on the list. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to go to the dead people on the list story again. The Vice President and General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic, has addressed this on multiple occasions. And there's a process of removing those persons. And at the end of the day, I'm saying to Coretta, there will always be a dead person on the list. The day before election, somebody gonna die. God forbid. Somebody will, either the elderly, the recent accident or something. The day before any election is held, at least 2 or 3 days before, somebody will pass away. And in that period, you can't get that person off the list. So there will always be a dead person on the list, Coretta. I think as a educated person, you have sense enough to deduce that. But it doesn't seem so. Right? So the nonsense about dead people on the list, I can't let that slide. She went on to touch on the vice president apologizing for having a dead man on the list. Now, context is important, Coretta. Stop lying to people. And that's why I keep saying y'all will be out of power for a very long time, because you keep making people a fool. That gentleman who passed away and was a candidate on the PPP's list agreed to be a candidate and died shortly after agreeing and signing up his documents. And due to the period in which he died, his name could not be removed or replaced. Coretta. So it's not a case where this man died and nobody knew or he had no interest in running in the LGE and he was just placed on the list. Stop misrepresenting the situation. Nothing of the sort happened. And mind you, Coretta, on a point of order that you bring up, you should be ashamed to bring up this gentleman. You should be ashamed to bring up this gentleman. Because, Coretta, and I'm calling your name, because I'm responding to everything, is I ain't talking no lie on you. I know for sure I can't get liable. If you remember, Coretta, this same man that you're talking about, the same man that you're talking about who died a few days before the LGE, beat your candidate at the election. You understand me? This same dead man that you complaining about trumps your candidate at the election. The dead man got more votes than the PNC living candidate, the APNU living candidate. And you're going to bring that up? You got shame? Yeah? You ain't got shame, Coretta McDonald? You ain't got shame? You making people feel like this guy was somebody add this dead. This man was dead for years, and they add him to the list. Right? No, so it was a man. It was a man. It wasn't a woman. So you're making people feel like this man died so many years before the LG elections or months before the LG elections, and he was added a couple of days, a few days before LG. This gentleman passed away, and still beat your candidate in that area, and you got the audacity to sit there and mention that. Indeed, Pasadru, Kool-Aid. This is the only thing that could got correct to talk in this nonsense. The only thing that could got correct to talk in this nonsense. So I don't understand why she's misrepresenting the situation. Right? I don't understand why she's misrepresenting the situation. Morning again to Mr. Livewire joining us on the live. I don't know why you're misrepresenting the situation. The gentleman was vying for his area. He was vying for his area. He wanted to run in the LG elections. So don't make anybody feel like the guy died a long time ago and he was added. And the mere fact that he beat your candidate, being cold in the ground, you should be ashamed to even bring that up again. You should be ashamed to even bring that up again. That's a nonsense Coretta McDonald talking for 2 hours. And trust me, I didn't look out at the whole program. This is here is in like the first half an hour. Bare foolishness. Bare foolishness coming out to Coretta. Donkey of the day to you. Hold on. I ain't do no graphic. But I have this, and I'll give it to you, Coretta. Donkey of the day to Coretta McDonald, AAMP, for misrepresenting the situation relating to the candidate that passed away and was still on the list. Donkey of the day to you, because I know that you know better. Teaching people at UG, teaching people children back in the day or whenever you used to do it, and you couldn't understand the explanation given for that man, that dead candidate being on the list. You don't think if his family didn't know he was running, they would have come out and said something? We would add an uproar or something? Stop misleading people. Stop misleading people. Right? She went on to talk about persons are less tolerant of each other. Why, Coretta? Why are persons in Guyana less tolerant of each other? Could it be the race hate that your party is spewing all the time? And persons associated with your party, like Rhonda Lane and Tokama Gunse and David Hines and Rickford Burke and Mark Benchcup and Sharisha Duncan and all of them? Could it be possible that that's the reason persons are less tolerant? Because you're making it seem like Afro-Guyanese are being marginalized and disenfranchised, when they're more, again, and as lament this all the time, they're more Afro-Guyanese contractors than they were 2015, 2020. If you remember that a certain big contractor that was getting all the work, right? So now government is working through the Ministry of Public Works, working with small contractors to bring more people into the fold. Those contractors employing people right in their communities to do roads, drains, and those kinds of things. At the same time, they're getting experience in government contracts and that kind of thing. Your party is causing the division in this country. PNC, APNU, AFC2. Your party, Coretta, is causing the division in this country. Most of your colleagues and comrades come on social media or go to the traditional media sources and spew a bunch of race hate with no facts to back it up. So when you're saying Afro-Guyanese are being disenfranchised, you're not coming with a document or something to say, okay, look, these are 10 Afro-Guyanese who apply for whatever, however you feel they're getting disenfranchised. You never come with that information. It's always just, they don't like Afro-Guyanese. the marginalizing Afro-Guyanese, the PPP hate Afro-Guyanese, but you see Afro-Guyanese here representing the People's Progressive Party Civic, or talking in relation to progress under the People's Progressive Party Civic. We see Afro-Guyanese in other areas advancing. We see Afro-Guyanese contractors. We see Afro-Guyanese athletes advancing. And you're talking about people less tolerant. That is because of your party, Coretta, and the narrative that you all spread. And I spoke yesterday about the reparation issue and David Hines. And my point, I reiterate again, Afro-Guyanese are not the only persons that are due for reparations. And I feel if you're making a call for reparations, it should be for all those persons who are affected. So again, I have no issue with reparations for persons. What? Juliana Richmond, you alive? What? Anyway, I have no issue. I have no issue with reparations, but it must be looked at in a holistic manner. We can't look at it from a point of view. We can't look at it from a point of view of one group only. Guyana is a land of 6 people. Guyana is a land of 6 people. So that is my issue with David Hines. David Hines, the black pudding boss is a worries by himself. Got time with that. So again, Coretta, I'm reiterating that the intolerance that you see in Guyanese society today is due to the narrative being pushed by the PNC, APNU. So Afro-Guyanese are less tolerant of Indo-Guyanese because you make them feel that there's nothing for them to benefit from. And then that's not all Afro-Guyanese. There's a few who might be not as well educated to understand the information. Then they got a few that diehard supporters of the party. The mother, the father, the grandparents come from this, so that's what they know and that's what they're supporting, whether or not it makes sense. Those are the few. Those are the few. But I'd like to remind you, Coretta, that these things come back to haunt you. Now, she spoke about intolerance. I'd like to play another video for you because I'd like to show the hypocrisy of these persons in the APNU. Wait, I didn't upload the video? No, man. Let me get that right now. So it processing flow. So I'm playing it for you in a second. She's talking about persons being intolerant, talking about praying for peace, right? Talking about praying for the betterment of Guyana and Guyanese. Listen to Coretta McDonald. This is the peaceful person who wants God to bless the country. Listen to Coretta.
Let us people get from here. You know, I would hope that one of these days, Guyanese people would get so vicious and so rebellious that we would block the airport if we hear somebody like Maya coming into this country, or Gonzalez coming to this country, or that thing that is called Golding coming to this country. These are the people who cause the confusion in here. But you know what?
Coretta. That's Coretta for y'all. That's Coretta. Coretta. Now, mind you, you hear the word vicious. Vicious. So it's like one time, oh, peace. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Then it's, oh, come Kabaka, Kabaka, oh, Kabaka. Then it's into viciousness. Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle and stick with it, man. Pick a struggle and stick with it. Now imagine this is the this is right. So this is Coretta McDonald talking about Guyanese blocking an airport when heads of state are coming into the country. 'Cause, 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 'cause blocking the road when heads of state are coming into the country. And on the other hand, telling people about peace and praying for the country and all this other nonsense. Pick a struggle, corrector. Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. Why would you want the Guyanese population to be vicious towards CARICOM heads of state? We're a part of CARICOM. And because those three persons that she mentioned, those three prime ministers, one, I think one or two might be former prime ministers, that they tried at the election. That is what they're upset with them about. And that is what you're telling people to block road and be vicious and that nonsense. That's why I told you, it relates to getting on the road to healing, the first thing you need to do is admit that y'all lost the elections and present the SOPs to show same. Present the SOPs to show same. But trouble. Finally, on my I won't even say my friend. Finally on Coretta McDonald. You know the one thing that what's the right thing to say? You know the one thing that drives Coretta mad? The Minister of Education. That's the one thing. So you know she had to touch on Minister Manik Chan. So she went into her prayer mode. Prayer. And that was the rest of the program. Prayer. You understand me? Look, listen, folks, I do this in the morning so I can share some of the nonsense that they try to push past the Guyanese people in the evenings on these programs. Sherrod and Coretta and Miss Flubess and all the other persons who have their Facebook programs. Because I feel like either they forget or they think that Guyanese have short-term memory loss. And they don't remember all the things that happened during the coalition period, and all the things that didn't happen during the coalition period in terms of development and progress to the country. Right? So, Coretta, I'm done with you. You have been awarded the Donkey of the Day for today, and we'll be moving on to other things. So, in relation to development and Guyana and moving forward and the work that the government has been doing in these regions, the Hosororo health outpost at Hosororo underwent a significant upgrade, transforming it into a health center thanks to a substantial investment of 13.8 million. This investment is expected to have a positive impact on the health delivery of health services in the Region 1 community. The recommissioning ceremony was attended by the Honorable Minister of Housing and Water, Colin Crowell, and at the event, he highlighted the importance of local healthcare access and improvements in service delivery. Minister Crowell also emphasized that the upgrade aims not only to improve the physical infrastructure, but also to ensure that citizens receive better healthcare services locally. This development will reduce the need for residents to travel to central hospitals for basic services. In relation to the expanded services, the upgraded health center will offer various added features, including a weekly doctor's visit and a stationed dentist. This expansion of services aims to cater to the wider range of healthcare needs within the community. Now, there was community involvement as well, or Minister urged community involvement. He urged the residents to take care of the facility and support the community health workers who will be staffing the center. Community involvement is crucial for the success and the sustainability of the upgraded health center. He also spoke more on the decentralization of healthcare, as he highlighted that government strategy of decentralizing healthcare services. Government is um, strategically decentralizing healthcare services. This means that regional hospitals are being upgraded to provide more comprehensive medical care, reducing the need for residents to travel to central hospitals in urban areas. The upgrade of the health facility reflects the commitment of both the regional government and the regional authorities and the at the RDC level and national at the national level to ensure effective and efficient healthcare delivery. This includes not only skilled personnel, but also the necessary infrastructure to support healthcare services. In relation to the 2023 program, the health facility upgrade is a part of the Regional Democratic Council's program for this year. This demonstrates the region's dedication to improving healthcare services and aligning with government's initiatives. The transformed Hosororo Health Center is expected to provide improved healthcare access, ensuring that residents can receive quality medical services closer to their homes without the need for long travels to distant hospitals. So, again, we call this works. Again, we call this works. Correct? Faith with works. Faith without works on your side. We see the difference. We're heading over to Region 9. Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sokai commissioned a new store at Rewa, a remote Amerindian village in the North Rupununi, Region 9. The store was constructed by villagers and funded through the ministry's 10 million Economic Investment Fund / COVID-19 Relief Fund allocated to villages in 2021. Minister Sukai highlighted government's commitment to bridging the development gap between Amerindian villages and other regions. The government's aim to allocate resources to indigenous communities to support their progress and catch up with other parts of the country. Investment in indigenous communities. Now, in relation to that, Rio and other villages have benefited from investment through sources such as presidential grants, community development projects, and revenue generated from sale of Guyana's carbon credits. In Riwa's case, 2 million from the COVID-19 grant was used for the construction of the store, while another 2 million will be used to stock it. The profits from the store are planned to support students attending secondary school. You see the holisticness of the plan? So we just bust in a shop or a store, we got a plan with it as well. The village council received a check valued over 4 million from the government's supplementary fund. A part of the 3 million provided in 2022 following the National Tushao Council's conference. This funding will initiate the first phase of the construction of a multi-purpose facility in the village. Back to community support again. Minister Sukai also delivered a brush cutter and sewing machines to the Rima village. These tools will be used by the community service officers, the CSOs, who the coalition government fired, and the sewing center that generates income for the women in the village. Minister Sukai also engaged with villagers from Apateri, informing them about national development. She encouraged youth to take advantage of the training opportunities like the Guyana Online Academy of Learning Scholarship Program and training in the health sector. They got BIT, they got the apprenticeship program, they got GROW, they got WIN, all these things. In Apateri as well, in relation to the presidential grant, the 1.5 million presidential grant was handed over to the village council. This grant is aimed at supporting community development and other initiatives in that area, right? So let's pop over to housing quickly. I just have about 6 minutes before we wrap up. Minister Kroll and Minister Rodriguez, they were in Diamond there, handing over some poor homes to some persons there. And it was new beginnings for several families in that area. So the transformative impact of the government's housing program on families has yet again touched another mother. And this is a mother of five who expressed immense joy and gratitude for receiving a new core home. Now, the core home program is for those persons who would already have acquired a house lot and they're unable to build and also might be in some sort of financial constraint. The core home program is there to assist. Now, this mother would have lamented the fact that where she was staying before, poor infrastructure with leaky roofs, and her five children and her were in there, and now they have a core home courtesy of the Ministry of Housing, right? So, despite facing challenging circumstances, the mother and her family did not give up on their aspirations for a better home. The Ministry of Housing and Water, in partnership with the Inter American Development Bank, played a crucial role in making this positive change possible. So again, hats off to those ministers who would have been involved in making this program through the IDB available. The Core Home program offers affordable housing solutions to families in need, while the cost of the Core Home is 4.5 million, right? And I want y'all to listen to this. The cost of the Core Home to construct it and everything, 4.5 million. Beneficiaries only need to pay $100,000. This affordability factor enables families to transition to better living conditions, right? So we see these initiatives coming out of the government having an impact on society. We see that government is looking to ensure that there are holistic plans on how they um, enhance the lives of Guyanese. It's not just a fly by night, willy nilly thing that, um, like Mr. Aubrey Norton would have suggested when he saw the phone coops that his government would have built, that he didn't know that his government built when he announced his rent to own scheme. Now, you could tell me, with all the initiatives that this government has been pushing, that's the best thing that you could come up with, a rent to own scheme. And Paul, this Paul, a few of you might know Paul. He called him on a previous program I used to host on before. Um, this is my issue with people like Paul. Now, I'm not sure I said people like Paul. Paul is a Guyanese who's living overseas, and Paul has a right to have an opinion on any matter that he has an opinion on. But my issue is, when last Paul set foot in this country? When last was Paul here to see what is going on? Right? Just yesterday or the day before, I spoke about the health minister speaking about the hybrid course at the Charles Rosa School of Nursing in Linden and the expansion that will happen there. Just the other day, we heard about the nursing school that will be opening at Essequibo. So, Paul, we see infrastructure being put in place and we see personnel being put in place. So, I think that would help for it to be effective. And maybe what you should do is come back to Guyana for a couple of months or however long you can and see what is going on, and not just look at it from a Facebook point of view in terms of what is being put out there, whether it's on my side, their side, whose ever side. Get your own point of view on the matter. You come to Guyana and see for yourself if you're seeing development. See for yourself if the parents are happy to have their because we care again and to have it increased. See if pensioners are happy about their increase. See if part-time workers are happy about being employed. Yes, rent to own is a bad idea. It's a bad idea, Paul. Right? Come here and see the Guyanese who are not complaining about the potholes in their road. They got new concrete roads. Come and see the new schools that the allegations were made that is coalition people burning down that are being rebuilt to modern standards. Come and see the booming agricultural sector. Come and see the brackish water shrimp, the black belly sheep, the black giant chicken, and talk to some of the farmers who get the free fertilizer during the COVID period when things on shipping was tight and fertilizer prices rose sky high. Come and see the new Linden to Lethem Road. Come and see the work that has begun on the new Demerara River crossing. By the time you get here, you can see the work that starts on the new bridge in Linden. Come and see the expansion to the Amelia's Ward in Linden. Come and see Block 22 that the PPPC government built in Linden. Come and see the economic area in Palmyra there in Region 6. Come in Region 9 and see the new housing scheme that they're building in Region 9 there. Come and see the new solar farm, the giant solar farm that they put down in Region 9. Come and see the solar farm that they put down in Bartica so that persons on the outskirts of Bartica can get light too. Come and see the ICT hubs all over the place. Come and see the investment in tourism. Come to our CPL that the president secured for the next 3 years, bringing all those Caribbean people to Guyana to watch CPL cricket, Paul. Come and see, Paul. So, yes, I think the new hospitals will be effective, and with the new personnel that the government is training to man them, it will increase their effectiveness, Paul. That is my view. Right? That is my view. Anyway, I'd like to thank all of you for joining me on the program this morning. It was lovely being here with you. I will always be here to share the information and to make sure, and to make sure persons don't mislead you in relation to what's happening on the ground. And Paul, remember, you'll always be my friend despite we might differ on views on certain things. And as you see, my brother, I conceded to the employment thing in City Hall and that. We can do. Anyway, it's Thursday. Don't forget, today at 2 p.m., Vice President will be having his press conference at 2 p.m. being streamed live on Facebook. So please don't forget to join in and be updated in relation to what's going on in and around the country. Don't forget, this Sunday, Quincy Anderson will be live with Fire Chief Gregory Wickham, and that is something you guys really need to tune into and get some information. Greta spoke of persons or more awareness, right, in relation to the fires that are happening. So here we have it. Quincy Anderson has taken the initiative, Coretta. He's going to have the fire chief to talk to people about fire prevention, right? Also, don't forget, people in Region 6, there is the bid training for heavy-duty equipment operators. The closing date is the 21st. The course begins on the 28th, and it will be happening at the Upper Quarantine Training Center. So please take an opportunity to, be part of this training program and upgrade yourself to make yourself more viable in more sectors. It creates opportunity for you when you have more skills. Special thanks to our sponsors, iSecure Security Service Inc. Remember, you're secure with iSecure, and also Builders First Choice Construction Company. Thank you guys for supporting the program, ensuring that you're here every morning to interact with the public. So that's all for me today. Courdel Jones saying bye for now.
Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil to one Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I